So Tristan, the last time that we talked, I don't think I told you this, but you don't know I'm going to say this, but I'm going to surprise you with it now. When a while back, God, it's been a while. We like 14 years ago we broke up, but like I had an ex-girlfriend, right, who was really good at rugby, and so she
Oh,
was
yeah.
in the national pool over here, and so I spent a fair amount of time around rugby, and I played rugby player. I trained rugby players and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things was like in America, if somebody had a funny talker on their team, you knew that they were going to be serious, you know? So like a bunch of Kiwis, obviously folks from England and South Africa and stuff, but like I got to spend time around Kiwis and you guys are lovely people. So I didn't tell you that before, but you funny talkers, you guys can play rugby,
Yep.
man. That's for sure.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have been told that before, that we do sound a wee bit funny, but yeah, yeah. But,
Did you
uh,
play rugby?
yeah, definitely.
I
Yeah,
was gonna
I
say
only
you
gave
have
up.
to, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I only gave
Yeah.
up playing rugby a couple of years ago when I made a decision whether I take hunting seriously or carry on playing a few years of rugby. And I hunting one out. I just didn't want to bust my knee, my knees, and
Yeah.
got to look after the body. I wanted to be playing when I was 40, and I turned 40 last year. So I continued playing from probably a young fella, about 6 or 7 years old, until I was 38, 39. Yeah.
No
So
kidding.
played, and
What number were you?
6, 4, or 5. So the
Okay.
6 is a blindside, and then your
Right.
two locks. Yeah. Yeah. I was never fast enough to be the open side or number 8. So yeah,
Yeah.
I just chug along, mate.
That's all
Yeah,
right. That's
yeah.
all right.
But
Everybody plays a part.
I've played at different levels and whatnot. So I played for the New Zealand Army Colts for 3 years. So I was captain of them for 2. So it was pretty cool. Yeah. I
That is cool.
played for the New Zealand Fire Service and the World Firefighter Games. Yeah, no, I did. I took my rugby pretty seriously for a while there.
That's
Mm.
great. Yeah, there's a I forget what the book was called, but like, oh shit, there was this leadership book about the All Blacks. The All Blacks, when back in like when Richie McCaw still played for them and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I forget what the book Legacy, maybe it's called Legacy,
Oh,
but
yep,
like
yep, yep.
the All Blacks got really, really popular in America for a while just because of
Yeah.
that book.
Yeah, Richie McCaw, I tell you what, mate, there should be a bronze statue of him in every small town in New Zealand, because he's he wasn't the biggest All Black, he wasn't the fastest, he wasn't the strongest. He just had the biggest ticker, and yeah, that really shone through. So I wish more people would appreciate what a great player and great leader he was. Yeah. Mm.
To say, he seems like a really good dude.
Yeah, very humble. I went to the same high school as him, actually. Otago
Oh, did you
Boys. Yeah.
really?
Yeah, yeah. Mm.
No kidding. That's
He's just
incredible.
yeah. Mm.
That's incredible.
Eh, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but you had to make a decision about hunting or rugby. So hunting's a
Yeah.
pretty big deal for you and it has been your entire life.
That has been, mate. Yeah. I had to get to a point where I I got to an age, like I said, just before 40 there. And I thought, well, I want to be hunting when I'm 65, 70, So if I think I've been very, very lucky with my injuries with rugby, just the normal bumps and bruises and broken nose and teeth and whatnot, but no major career-ending injuries. So I reckon I was on borrowed time for a bit there. So I thought, no, I'll make a decision and just concentrate on my hunting. It was pretty hard to um, not go watch the team and whatnot, but yeah, it was a decision, a conscious decision that I made, that weigh up the two, and yeah, hunting won. Like I said, I've been hunting probably the same age as when I started playing rugby, and yeah, hunting has been a massive part of my life as well, and I want it to continue to be right up till I can't do it no more. So
I hear that.
looking after my body and that sort of thing, and that's how I come across you on your channel, was different ways to look after the body for longevity. So yeah, yeah,
That's cool. Well, I'm glad you did. I mean, it caused me to, wonder who this guy from New Zealand was checking out all our stuff, and so obviously I went and looked you up and everything and saw that you have HuntMate. So I want you to, I mean, talk all about HuntMate and everything like that. And I will obviously give you a proper introduction. You're Tristan Corbett, right? And so Tristan's from New Zealand. He runs a really neat app called HuntMate, and he's one of the, we're going to talk about that, and then through the last conversation that you and I had, you told me about just like essentially how easy it would be
Yeah,
for Americans to come over there and hunt, and I don't think people realize that.
yeah.
We I know that they don't, because everything that you told me blew me away. So I want to get into that too, but I want you to talk about like coming up hunting, and then how that progressed you into starting hunting mate and everything.
Yeah, for sure. So, um, hunting's quite big in New Zealand, just in our culture, really. We have so much public land here in New Zealand that it's very, very accessible for us. So, like I said, I started hunting at a real young age, and I've got pictures of my friend's old man taking me and him out when we were about 6 or 7 years old, and that's putting a pack on us, staying in the tent, and so having a full-on adventure. And back then, it was in the early '90s, maybe. There wasn't as many animals about back then, because we had helicopters go around and shoot them all for the venison recovery, and so a lot of our animals go boom or bust. And when we started as a young fella, it was definitely in the bust stage. So, you know, going bush for a couple of days and even just seeing an animal or spooking an animal if you're bush stalking was a really good day's hunting, back then. And then, so we started off on just the red deer and fallow deer and goats. And then as we got older, um, we progressed onto the alpine species, which is your tahr and your chamois. Um, so yeah, uh, we started off, it was a way to fill the freezer, with the old man and my brother, and that they hunted as well. And then eventually, just with the hunting progression, it morphed into, a bit of trophy hunting and whatnot, just because we were out there all the time. So, we just started to be a lot more selective about what we hunted. So, yeah, um, me and my mate Ben, when we were younger, we used to just put a pack on our back and away we go for a couple of days out in the bush. I think about that now at the age that I was. Um, I don't know if I'd let my kids shoot out there at that age with rifles, but we did, and nothing bad come of it, so it was pretty cool. And then I joined the army when I was about 17, and that was pretty much just to get their cool hunting gear, the bivy bags and the packs and stuff, the free boots and all the rest of it. So yeah, that was pretty cool, and did that for quite a few years. And I didn't do too much hunting when I was in the army. I concentrated on my career there, and so I did a little bit of North Island hunting where we have the sika deer. When I was
Mm.
posted into the North Island, we had the sika deer up there. Um, which was pretty cool. And then when I left the army, that was when I really got into my hunting quite seriously. I went gold mining and did that for about 11 years. And it was a real good roster there. It was a 50-50 roster. So it allowed me a lot of time to hunt. And so the days that I was at work, all I was doing was just planning the next hunting trip for my days off, and yeah, and looking at maps and watching YouTube videos and whatnot. So um, yeah, I started to take my hunting a lot more seriously then, and yeah, so just a lot of that was just solo. I think just my favorite type of hunting is just my backpack hunting, where I look on a map and go right, might go there, and I'll pack me back, a few days food, and away you go. That's We're very lucky, like I said in New Zealand, where a third of our country is public land. I actually got some facts for you. It was 8.7 million hectares of public land, and we can hunt 7.8 million hectares of it. So,
No shit.
yeah, yeah, we've got
Yeah.
nearly 8 million hectares that we can hunt here in New Zealand, and we've got um, 50 to 80,000 big game hunters in New Zealand. So when
There's a
you
lot of
put that in,
space.
there's so much space. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so you know, you just pick a spot on a map. The permit system over here is that bloody easy. It's just a tick box on the website pretty much, and away you go. unless it's during the rut. Um, some blocks, if they're real popular, for the 20th of March to the 20th of April, they'll ballot then out. But yeah, everywhere else, they don't ballot. They do the tar and chamois, but it's the tar block they ballot. But there's still plenty of other areas that you can just go if you wanted a tar during the rut, so you don't even need to put in for one of those blocks. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Hmm. So yeah, no, it's the spot and stalk. What you guys would call your spot and stalk, where you go out onto a high point and set up the spot and scope and have a good look for an animal. And or for me, looking for that something big, mature animal, and then stalking in on it, camping out, and then hiking back out. Yeah, mm,
We need to go
yeah.
back for a second. You were a fucking gold miner? What did you do? Like, what did you do when you were mining gold?
Um, yeah. Um, I was we've got a big gold mine here, just out of Dunedin here, and I worked there for 11 years. So I was operations coordinator at the processing plant, so where we poured the gold bars and I extracted the gold and poured the gold bars. Yeah, did that for 11
No
years
shit.
there. Yeah.
There's this one time the last time I went to Alaska, we were on this river called the 40 Mile River, which is like a pretty famous gold mining river. And so we were going up it on the boat and came across gold miners. And they like there they I don't know what you guys are doing there, but they like dredge the banks of the stream and then like filter it and then take the gold out. And I bought gold off of a gold miner on the river, like a back alley drug deal. Just bought like
Oh, yeah.
$700 worth
Cool.
of gold off this guy. It was wild. I mean, $700 worth of gold here now is like you get like half a flake or something because gold's so
Yeah.
expensive. But
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was wild. So that was cool to hear that you're a gold miner. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's a very big organisation up there, and they actually have a couple of mines around New Zealand. And for that mine, their yearly target was 200,000 ounces. So it's a big gold mine, digging big holes, and they have underground. And it's just the processing plant where they crush it and extract it and pour the gold bars. Yeah, mm,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
yeah, yeah.
And so that gave you a chance to start getting back into hunting more, and you're transitioning into that. So take me from there, and then like start walking me towards developing HuntMate.
Yep. So I um I actually then um started doing a bit of YouTube, just nothing
Okay.
serious, just a few um just for my own records, recording hunts and whatnot. It was a good way for me to show my kids what I'm up to and whatnot. And so from there, I started to get hit up every now and then from North Island hunters or Australians and whatnot, wanting to do um, come down and knock a bull tar. Was pretty much the main reason why people would be into contact, because a lot of the videos I did was um, tar hunting. And so I started swapping hunts with a few people. Tar hunt for a seeker hunt and the likes like that. And the thing about the guiding side of things that I didn't like, because I finished gold mining and wanted to make hunting my passion somehow. And over here, most people to do that, you just go guiding, but I didn't. I, I didn't really want to go guiding because I'd had a little taste of it, and but I didn't like the pressure of having to kill an animal, just
Mm,
just for the sake of killing an animal. Um, but when someone's coming, paying a bit of money, they expect that, you know, and so um, I thought, well, how else can I um, make money from hunting without having to guide? And because I'd guided a few times and I'd had a couple of bad experiences just with different people, just a bit of personality differences, and you
sure.
don't know who's turning up on your door, so you've got to be a pretty um, people person when you're guiding, and I didn't want it to take away from my experience of hunting. Like I still love going out in the hills, so I didn't want someone that I wasn't enjoying their company with after spending 6 days, if you know what I mean. So
Sure. Absolutely.
and so I turned away a few people and I said, "Oh, look, what I'll do for you is I'll just do a map for you, and I'll put a pin where you can go yourself and get yourself a tar or a stag or whatever you want, whatever you're wanting." And so I was doing these maps for people that were just, where to park their car, what hill to climb, those sorts of things. And they were getting quite a bit of success just from that. And I thought, oh, maybe I should be charging people for that. And so, yeah, that's kind of how HuntMate come about. I sat down and, plenty of time out on the hill when I was out there. I was like, how can I monetize that um, aspect of it? So pretty much just guiding, but without actually having to take someone there. So I created an app because I wanted it to be available offline. And so when that person's out on the hill, they can actually refer to that map, when they're actually out there. Because I don't know about you guys, but we you can kind of get a bit of it now, cell phone reception over the whole country, getting close to that now, but it's not reliable. And so I wanted an app that was available offline with as much information as possible. So yeah, that's how HuntMate come about. And then on that map, on that app, I've just started doing podcasts and weekly blogs and recipes and quizzes and plan your own hunts, and there's much else as you could do. I chucked on there because we don't have anything quite like it here. Um, so it was quite hard for me to come up with it. It's not like a magazine where you can have it already set out and then you can go, okay, I'm going to do this, but make it, have my uniqueness this way. I've just literally created it out of thin air and thought, right, I'll dabble in a bit of everything and see what people enjoy, and then I'll go down that path. And so, but people are enjoying, yeah, a lot of the different aspects of it. And,
I was gonna say you have education and all kinds of stuff in there, right?
yeah, yep, yep. So I've got a lot of handbooks, like our government puts out handbooks. So what a TB infected liver looks like, how to butcher your animal, how to head skin your animal, how to bore sight your rifle, deal with blisters, and just anything I could think of that um, I do, I've put on paper pretty much. So,
That's
or
great.
put on the app. Yeah. Even
And
down to how to Euro mount your head, you know,
oh, that's cool.
how
Yeah.
how I do it. Yeah.
How you boil the brains out of that thing and deal with the smell for hours is what
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty much how that came about. So now what I do is, um, I still get to do my hunting. I still work 40 hours a week, but so after I do my normal day job, I take my camera, spotting scope, and all my gear, and just go for a normal hunt, and just take pictures of the animals now. And I try and do it so you don't need a full drive or four wheeler, just so any Joe Blogs hunter can buy one of these maps and go out and do it. And so I'll name them, like whether it's just a good spot to fill your freezer, or I'll put pictures up of the big stag that I saw or the bull tar, and so I'll name it as such. So if you wanted a big bull tar or a red stag, you can go buy one of those maps, and it will put a pin in a detailed map of where I went and where I saw and yeah, whatnot. Mm.
Yeah, that's it's so I mean, we were talking about this when we were talking last time about how cool it is that you guys can be so open about information like that because you have so many critters and if you guys don't kill them, the government's just gonna kill them anyway. Like here, if you
Yeah.
did that bullshit, like somebody would show up at your house and hang you. Like if you tried to
Really?
pull that. Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't like we're so we're I mean, we don't have I mean, out west in our country, like, there's a fair amount of public land, but it's still they say there's a crowding problem. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but, like, people are very protective of their spots, and the hunting industry and guiding and stuff is, like it can be kinda messy, and then, like, here in Pennsylvania, like, if you know where there's a big buck or, like, you know where there's turkeys or something like that, you keep your mouth shut. You don't tell anybody.
Really?
So, absolutely. Yep.
Is that
Yep.
right? I think
Absolutely.
because I've got to the stage in my hunting career where I want to help others. Because I suppose the difference for us is that um, we have many other different ways. Like we don't have predators,
Right.
for example, but what we do have is our government dropping 1080 on the place, which is poison to eradicate animals, and they say they're doing it for rats and mice, but they paint the bait green so so the deer eat it. And we also have a thing called Wild Animal Recovery Operation, so WARO, and that's just helicopters flying around with gunships with guns out the window, shooting animals and then picking them up and turning it into pet food and exporting it. And so those fellas can go into a watershed and wipe out a whole watershed full of animals in the morning, you know. So my thoughts on that is that I'd rather an everyday boot hunter go in there and smack a few animals than have a helicopter go in there, smash out anything and everything, and sell it as pet food. So,
For sure.
and with my maps, I only sell 10 of each area, and so um, it's not like so I only sell 10 of each area, so that area doesn't become ruined as well. So it is a bit of a uniqueness there where um, I, I am kind of preserving that area as well because if someone's bought a map, they don't want to tell anyone, and so
Right.
it's just like telling your mates down at the pub or something that oh yeah I shot a stag here or something, and they don't want to tell anyone. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
There's still a little bit of secrecy to it, and you're practicing conservation in the way that you can.
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
one of the biggest reasons why I started it as well was I want more people to go hunting. That is my goal. Like if we have more people in New Zealand hunting, it'll get better managed, and we won't have to put up with. Well, war is not bad, like as bad as 1080, but I just think it could be better managed,
Mm.
like telling hunters where they've done warrow or where there is too many animal numbers to send people. So we can't even get that sort of information, but because we don't have enough hunters here lobbying for us, Um, whereas if we have more hunters out there doing it, I think we'll just get better managed, and then we'll be able to have those things in place where we'll get more people speaking up about not wanting 1080 dropped or better regulations on warrow. Um, yeah, and better access as well. Like we have a lot of areas with tens of thousands of hectares, and there's only one access point, and so everybody just funnels in through that access point. Whereas if we had better access at the back of those blocks, they'd be able to control numbers if they ever did have a high animal number. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
mm.
you're doing your best to build a community.
Yeah, it is dead right. Yeah, Like, yeah, there's so many more worse things than someone telling telling 10 people where to go for a hunt
For
and
sure.
for our hunting than, if people want to get upset about that, well then, you know, they shouldn't look into 1080 or Warrow. Crikey,
For
they'll
sure.
pull their hair out,
For
So
sure.
yeah.
Are any people getting upset about
Um,
what you're doing?
I have had, I've been going 10 months now. I think if I put anything online these days, you get a reaction. I did have
Yeah.
one person, oh, you're not going to do a map for that spot, are you? And I said, sorry, mate, I can't tell you because I'll be disrespecting the people that have paid. So if you didn't know, you wouldn't know. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
just keep going there as normal. Like, and those 10 maps that I sell, they aren't all going to go there the very next weekend. There's going to be 10 utes in the car park.
No.
They've got that spot for life. They can go there whenever they want. So don't, it's not going to ruin an area. And like I said, we've got um, that many areas here in Dunedin or around Otago or South Island that if there is a few vehicles in the car park, just drive 20 minutes down the road, go to somewhere else.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
Yeah. I mean, you have access. And the thing is, it's just like you guys have so much cool stuff to hunt, like just in one area. Like here in Pennsylvania, we got whitetails, and that's about it. Like if you wait your whole life, you can draw an elk tag, right? You're gonna get one chance, and you're not gonna draw it until you're 60 years old. And we
Is that
only
right?
have like 1,000 elk in Pennsylvania, and so um, most of the elk are out west. Like there's like 14,000 or so in Kentucky. There's a handful in Michigan. There's a handful in Arkansas. There's some that go over through between like Tennessee and North Carolina. Like in the east, there's not very many elk. And so, just that you guys have all of that stuff like right there in one place is it's pretty foreign, especially to folks from the eastern United States. Like you could go out west and you can hunt antelope and you can hunt mule deer and you can hunt elk and stuff like that out there. But it's like it's one, and if you're lucky, maybe two trips a year. And like a lot of my friends, it's like an every other year type thing. Like people can't do it every year, because it's cost prohibitive. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about with you about
Mm,
showing folks that it's not too bad to get down there to hunt. And then
mm.
like all of the prices for like if you wanted to hire a guy here or something like that, all of these prices are just getting inflated. Like I have a friend that just booked a hunt in this fall. I'm not going to say where he's going or who he booked it through, but to kill a 280 bull, which is a decent bull. There's nothing wrong with that bull, and he's a newer hunter, so he'll be tickled pink with it. But it's like he's spending a lot of money to go hunt that animal, you know, and so it's a very different, very very different world here. That's why I was so excited to hear about what you guys have going on down there.
So how do you scratch your hunting itch? Do you just go out there for camera or shed hunting or
I
like
mean, one of the what you have to do here is hunt with different weapons, right? So
yeah.
you have to that like truth be told, I bow hunt. I'm not like there's a lot of people here that are I'm a bow hunter and it's like a very strong identity for them. I'd rather hunt
Mhm.
with guns to be honest with you. But you have to hunt all of the seasons. So like we have an archery season, we have a muzzleloader
Yeah,
season,
massive.
we have rifle season, and so the way that you do that is you hunt all of those seasons if you want to hunt deer, and then we have spring turkey season. We have duck seasons, we have goose seasons, and stuff like that. And one of the things that I do is I'll hunt small game. I'll hunt squirrels. I like hunting squirrels. I think we talked about that last time. It's kind
Mm,
of fun,
mm.
but you just have to do it in ways that allow you more access. And so, like that's one of the reasons that I've started to want to get more into upland hunting because the seasons are long. Like I have clients that'll go out west for 6, 8 weeks at a time and just drive around to the different western states and hunt the different species of upland birds that are out there. And so you just kind of got to piece it together like that. So if you're going to hunt big game, either you got to spend a lot of money and have tags in different states, or you got to hunt every season in the state that you have. That's about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, see,
Different world, man.
yeah, I don't take it for granted what we do have here, because I do know we've got it well, and that's why I wanna look after it, and get it properly managed and keep it as it is, but, yeah, that would be hard, eh, like yeah.
It is
Sometimes,
hard.
for example, like, if I've had a hard day at work or, wanted I could just go for an afternoon hunt, on some hills around here. Could shoot whatever I want whenever I want, and
And you can do that in season here, but the thing is, like March right now in Pennsylvania, there's nothing to hunt until May when turkey season opens, or maybe it opens the end of April this year. I can't remember, but there's nothing to hunt until May, and then you have turkey season, and then you can't hunt again until I mean goose season will open in September, but then early duck season opens in October. And you get a week there, and then archery season starts in October for deer and bear, and that's about what you get. And then you can hunt most of the winter if you hunt different things. But like for example, rifle deer season here in Pennsylvania is 2 weeks long. That's all
oh,
you
yeah.
get. 2 weeks, and then there's some extended doe seasons and stuff now because they're trying to knock the herd back a little bit. But that's what you get
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. How come there's only a 1,000 elk in Pennsylvania?
because Pennsylvania is
What's
not that big, and so they're worried about. So we have an interstate that runs through Pennsylvania, through like the northern third of Pennsylvania called Interstate 80, and above that is more mountainous and less agrarian. And so what they
mhm.
try to do is keep the elk north of I-80 because the farmers don't want them coming down in here and wrecking their crops. And so back in the day, like in the 18 up until like 1855 or 1856, there were a lot of elk in Pennsylvania. Like the whole state was covered in elk. There
So
were a
that's
lot
a
of eastern
managed.
elk.
So
What's
that's
that?
a managed level. They try and keep it at is a
They want
thousand.
to keep it around 1,000. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And so I forget how many tags they issue this year. And then Virginia, the state that I was living in, they have an elk herd of like 200 elk, and they give out like 5 or 6 tags every year, something like that. So
Mm,
it's a tough go. If you want to hunt elk, you got to go out west. You know.
yeah. 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 So yeah, and that kind of does lead on to what we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, the cost of you're better off. Because personally, like for someone like me, that I like looking big picture, right? So the more hunters we have there here in New Zealand, the better it's going to be managed. Like the biggest threat to our game species is mismanagement, and so if we get it managed properly, and the only way that's going to happen is if there's a monetary value on it. If we get more hunters here and more of us go hunting, so we can vote
Sure.
the people in and out. So yeah, I encourage overseas hunters to come over as much as I can. I've got a good mate coming over in May from Aussie. He's been over quite a few times. He's an ex-army fella as well. Yeah, I actually got quite a bit of information off him on how he brings
Oh,
his
cool.
rifle and all that sort of stuff. I hit him up and said, "Hey, what's your thought of the process?" And he said, "Yeah, no, it's pretty bloody easy." So, um, yeah, so yeah, I'll go into a bit of detail of what it is. I
Before you
didn't
do that, I want you to say, just so everybody hears it, everything around you, that all the big game species that you have access to right now, because I don't think people totally comprehend that. What are all the big game species you have access to?
okay. And this is in no particular order either, because some people don't consider the wild goat. So I've got goat, wild sheep, um, red deer, fallow deer, whitetail, tar, chamois. In the bottom of the South Island, we've got wapiti, or elk, and then in the North Island, we've got rooster, samba, sika. Yeah,
What are those? Wait. What are the ones that you said, the two before you said before Sika?
rooster,
Roos- What's that?
rooster
I don't
deer.
know what that is.
Um, they they have them in New Caledonia. Do you know what they look like? So they're
No.
uh, 6 point antlers. They're very hard to get here in New Zealand. They are
Okay.
very they're not very well populated here. And same as samba. It's to hunt them. The best way to hunt them is on private land up in the
Gotcha.
North Island. But yeah, yeah, there are two species that I haven't actually hunted here in New Zealand. Is those two. So yeah, but the red deer, fallow deer, tar, chamois, sheep, goats, pigs are all over the whole lot. So yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome. Okay.
What
Yeah.
our whitetail are pretty area specific, and same as our elk. Yeah, and then the sika is specific to the North Island. Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
we have a decent population of Sika deer here in Maryland.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's the only place we have them. They live in the swamps around Maryland. And so you can go in there and buy a tag and kill them. So, but that's the
Yeah.
only like exotic species that we have close by.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know
Yeah.
you
But
had the sika in there.
oh yeah, it was like I forget exactly like I'm not even gonna attempt the story because I'm sure that I have the details all fuzzy, but there's a good population of 'em around the swamps, and guys will go back in and like, canoes or boats and hunt them back there. And people on private land have different things set up for them and stuff too. But they're
Yeah.
I've eaten it. It's delicious. I haven't gotten to kill one yet. So
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Some of the other species that we've got that we do a fair bit with is, we do have turkey here, but it's not a very big game animal over here. Farmers just want them shot.
I kind of
um,
I want to come there and hunt turkeys with you to show you how we call them in and shoot them and stuff. It's really really fun.
yeah, yeah, I do watch a fair bit of Americans and calling them in and calling them
Oh
in
yeah.
like that. They do seem pretty, you know, quite exciting to bring
Oh
all in.
man, when they're fun. Spring gobbler hunting is just it's my favorite thing to do. It's really really fun.
What's the eyesight of a turkey? What is that like? I don't know too
Oh,
much about
good,
them.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can't make mistakes. I mean, So the different species, like in Eastern here, like you make a mistake, he's gone. You're not gonna kill him. Miriams, they're not as tough to kill. Rios are kind of in between an Eastern and a Miriam as far as difficulty, but they're way easier to locate because they gobble all day long.
Oh, right.
So I've killed quite a few of those in California, and they're really really fun to hunt. But I didn't get into turkey hunting until I was an adult, and my friend Brett, who's and his dad, they're both really good turkey hunters, and they taught me to hunt turkeys. And so we use terrain and we call and we don't have any decoys, and that's the best way to do it, because it's like, like if you get that bird to 30 yards and you did it that way, like you tricked them, you actually called them in, you know what I mean? But there's a lot of turkey hunters here that have, their shotgun set up with, and I use TSS, so I'm not shitting on TSS, but like they have these super tight chokes with red dots, and they're like shooting birds at 80 yards, and it's like, you didn't trick that bird, man. You know what I mean? Like the whole thing for us is like the game of calling the bird in, getting him close, and having that experience. See him come in strutting, like, man, it's so
Yeah,
awesome. But yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But anyway,
That
tell me about getting stuff over there. Yeah,
um, yeah, like I said, we have our seasons, but a lot of Kiwi hunters, that's the only time that they will go out there in the hills is for the rut or the raw. And so, yeah, and that's we're just coming into that now. And so, last weekend I was out. We had a few stags roaring, so it was the first
cool.
of the season. So yeah, getting our heart pumping. That was hearing them again. So um, yeah, no, we are very fortunate. I can unplug my laptop and I can show you around a few of the heads if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Show me. Yeah, let's see him.
Yeah.
Let's show everybody.
So if people want to see that's a Tara and Shemi there. Can
Cool.
you see that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Oh man, there's a
Oh, you got a
sheep
nice whitetail.
and a whitetail there, and then a
Oh, dear.
fellow there. Yeah, they're all public land ones. Oh, I got a shed full of heads, but yeah, those are some of the ones I got on the side, and I'm very lucky the wife lets me have them in the lounge.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's really cool. That's really cool. Yeah, I was blown away when you told me you guys have whitetails. I had no idea. No idea.
Yeah, yeah. They're very cunning for us. The mainland, both populations, they aren't huge and they do get hunted a fair bit. We call them the grey ghost over here,
Mm,
and just because they are so hard to hunt. Yeah, yeah. But we don't. On the Stewart Island, we're the ones that are down there. We do tree stand them a bit,
yeah,
hunt from a tree stand just because you can't bush stalk them. It's just too noisy. And so your better option is just to sit still and let them come past you. Mm.
yeah. That's how they're
So
mostly hunted here.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you, bow hunting is getting a little bit more popular over here.
Did you say
I reckon
burrow?
bow hunting
Oh,
with
bow
bow and
hunting.
arrow.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, it's that funny language again.
And so
Um,
you're a funny talker, man. That's what it is.
yeah, so it is getting more popular over here, but and everybody has their own thing with hunting. Like for me, and a lot of people don't like trophy hunters and all the rest of it, but I've got to that point now where I'm not going to try and shoot a meat animal every trip, and I don't need to get close. I actually enjoy looking from a distance and watching them just behave naturally, and then if I do see something big and mature and old, that's when I'll go stalk in, and take that animal.
Sure.
So yeah, yeah, everyone's got their own
Yeah.
different thing, but
Of
yeah.
course. Absolutely. It's your hunt, man. You should hunt it how you want to hunt it.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll bring it up on my computer so that I'm not
Okay. Yeah, great.
getting fact checked at the same time. No, I just wanted to be
Absolutely.
accurate. I did want
Yeah.
it to be accurate, but so yeah, you can apply for a firearms license here in New Zealand, and they recommend about 4 months before you come over
Okay.
is recommended, but not up to 6 months before your arrival date. And
Okay.
so you apply for your firearms license online, and the website is very, very detailed and step by step. And so um, you need to have a firearms license in your own country, and so they refer to that. You do a
I wonder how
small.
that's gonna work for us though, because we don't have to do that.
You do you not have a firearms license? It's just
Yeah,
the way that.
if you wanna it depends on the state, but you have to get a concealed carry if you wanna conceal a handgun, but, like, you
No,
don't have to have a firearms license here.
yeah, right.
I wonder how that would work for us.
So what's your minimum age? There must be
18,
no, yeah,
21 to
right.
buy a handgun. Yeah,
Cool. Yeah,
yeah.
right. No, so uh, it just says on the website there that any documentation for what
Okay,
where you come from, and then
okay,
you have to set up what we have here in New Zealand is called a Real Me account, which is that talks you through the process where it verifies that it is you and it sends you an email and all the rest of it, and then you get a small online test, uh, which refers to our firearms code, and you have to
okay,
pass that. And but when you get your firearms license, um, that's also your import permit as
okay,
well to bring your rifle. Yeah, so um, you don't need any of the firearms licenses if you're going to hunt with a guide here in New Zealand. If you're in close supervision of someone that does have a firearms license, um, yeah, but that's if you're going to use a guide. But I'd recommend just coming over and getting your firearms license. I think it costs 25 Kiwi dollars, so that's probably only about 15 odd American, probably not even that. Yeah, yeah.
okay.
It's a pretty easy process. I'll read out what me mate sent me, Aussie mate, because he summarised it probably even better than I can off the bloody thing. He said, it's a fairly simple process with New Zealand Police. During the application process, the applicant has to pass an electronic firearm safety test. It is an application process. Then, on passing, continue to fill out the online forms. Very simple. You then provide details of the firearm and ammunition. The visitor license, once approved, then becomes the import permit as well. Once the application is received, a member of the firearms registry will send you an email explaining that they are the person that is processing the application. On passing through customs, once you arrive in New Zealand, you go to the police station at the airport where the firearm will be waiting for you, along with the license and what you sign for. Quickly go over the serial number, etc., and then you're on your way. So yeah,
That's not too
that's
bad.
simple. Yeah,
Yeah,
you do need to also get an export permit, but that's just one form. Yeah,
cool.
it's
Pretty
that
simple
easy.
then.
And so when you do come over, it's you go onto the Department of Conservation website, which is our government website, and on there it's very well detailed. It has maps of where all the different animals are in New Zealand, and so you can then just apply for a, oh, and then you can just apply for a permit, um, and it covers very big, broad range of area, and then you just come over and away you go.
But you said
Uh,
also, like, if you want to, you can rent a rifle, right?
I looked into that. Um, that that does look harder than it looks. Yeah,
Then bring in your own?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
did look into
Gotcha.
that about some guides that will rent out a rifle, but at the cost of it and whatnot, yeah, you can.
Just
But
bring your own.
yeah, I'll just bring my own. Or yeah, yeah, it's
Gotcha.
not that hard. Yeah, mm. But
Interesting. Okay, cool.
yeah, um,
So that permit you talked about for hunting that gives you access to a certain area, like, what's that cost?
that's free. That's free, mate. That's free.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
incredible.
So
You just
if
oh,
you do,
shit. I pulled my
oh,
headphones out. So you just you
yeah,
sorry about that. You just essentially have to tell them you're coming.
yeah, you just apply for the permit on the website, and you can come over and shoot pretty much whatever you want, whenever you
And it's
want.
free for us. For
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you
uh,
can come over and shoot a bull tar, and the most expense you'd have is your flights over here, um, a rental car, your motel, and then $25 for that, and you're into it. Yeah,
Man. And if
yeah,
you I mean, if you play it right, like, if you use airline miles or credit card points or something like that, like, you can get a flight for
yeah,
pretty reasonable, I'd
yeah.
imagine, especially
I,
if you
I
have to
act-
play in that far in advance.
yeah, I was actually going to try and look up see what a flights from America would cost out here to New Zealand, but yeah, I couldn't give you that off the top of my head.
I
Yeah,
mean, it wouldn't be cheap, but it wouldn't be like I said, like, some of the hunts out here like I told you, I should draw the combo tag in Montana this year, right? And so, I think out the door, just for those tags, it's gonna cost me probably $1,500 or more, maybe 1,600, something like that.
wow.
So we have that, then, we're driving out, so there's gas, then there's the hotels on the way out because I've done the whole drive, 24 hours straight shit, and I'm not doing that anymore. I'm too old for that shit. And, so we'll get the hotels on the way out and the way back, and then obviously there's our lodging out there. There's food, there's all this kind of stuff. So it
Yeah,
turns into a decent chunk of change pretty quick, man, So
yeah. Yeah. See, over here, you can really customize what you wanted to hunt. So if you just wanted to go for, say, a tahr hunt, you can hunt them on the east coast of South Island where it's more, you can hunt them in tussock rolling country, like up into the steep rocky bluffs. Or you can go onto the west coast where it's real thick, dense scrub and it's a real adventure. And so if you wanted an adventure hunt or you just wanted, a good 12-inch bull tahr with a nice mane, you just pick what time to come over here and yeah, you can come over and it doesn't cost you a cent.
so
Mm. And
the go ahead, I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
so a lot of the times in those same locations where there's a tar, there's also alpine species as chamois. And then if you drop down, that's when you'll find your red deer as well, your stags. Mm,
You can okay.
yeah.
So you said that the stags are roaring right now.
Mhm, mm,
Okay, because you guys are
yeah.
going into fall there. You guys are going into autumn.
Yeah. Autumn. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Into our fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But our stags will hold on to their antlers until September.
Oh,
And
really?
so yeah, yep, so they grow them in February, and they'll have until September, and, during that time, you'll have the tahr rut in May, June, and then oh, sorry, the chamois rut May, June, and then the tahr rut June, July. So, yeah, if you pick your time, you can get some you could knock a few species off, that's for sure. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
And how
yeah.
how tough is it? Like, so say somebody wanted to come for like the red deer rut right now. How tough would it be to hunt chamois and tar right now too, because they're not rutting? Still
Yeah, no,
get it
still,
done?
yeah, yep, easy, yep, yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, so I shouldn't say easy. Um, yeah, it's
it's still
doable.
possible.
Very,
Yeah,
very,
yeah.
very doable. Yep, yep. Yeah, yeah. I can leave from my place in Dunedin and be up shooting tahr in the afternoon up Mount Cookways. So yeah, like
No kidding.
um, it all depends on what sort of type hunting you're wanting. Like if you're wanting your big adventure or you're wanting to go up a big valley with river flats and beach forests up into the big snowy capped mountains, or your rolling country, or going over different ranges and looking into headwaters and those sorts of you can look at the maps and just go, oh yeah, that's the sort of country, and go there and have a look. And the chances are there's a real good chance that you would find an animal pretty much anywhere you could walk on
It's like a
public
choose
land
your
out
own
here.
adventure thing, man, huh?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, yeah. Because we also have public huts along the way as well
Oh,
that you
cool.
can stay at. Yeah, and they're only like $5 a night if you wanted to. But personally, I enjoy just sleeping in a wee pup tent and
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Mm.
Um, shit, I had a question for you. What was it?
Yeah,
I
so
lost it.
while you think of that, I've got all that sort of information on the app, like
Okay.
even the how to bring your firearm in, for overseas hunters if they wanted to come in here into New Zealand. I've got all that information on the apps with linked to the websites and whatnot. So it's um that's definitely one area that I'm starting to think that I might head for the app is advertising it a bit overseas, especially in the Australian market. And so for, if an Aussie wants or American wants to come over, they can, go on the app, get all the resources they need. It's all there, a step by step guide on, what um, paperwork you need, and then they can buy one of the maps and know exactly where to go. That there is going to be some animals there, or there or thereabouts.
That's really awesome. That's really
Mm,
cool. Yeah.
mm,
It's yeah, I mean, you say like I mean, you said about what kind of hunt you want to have because like uh, for me, obviously coming over there, you'd be like, I would, you would have to tell me.
yeah,
I'll preface this by saying I'm not bloodthirsty, but you'd have to say,
yeah,
"Don't shoot that one." You know what I mean? Because I don't
yeah,
know. I'd be like, "That's a tar. I'll kill that one." You know.
yes.
So
So what I've done before is for this is before I started HuntMate, but I kind of do the same now. Is like for an Aussie, I'd send them pictures of different areas and go, what sort of country would you like to hunt? This sort of country, this sort of country, this sort of country, and what sort of animals in your priority order would you like to hunt? And then once they give you that information, then you can kind of just go, okay, well, I'd recommend this spot. You know, this is going to be your best chance for a tart or a red stag, and it's going to have the what you're wanting, whether you're a bow hunter and wanting to bush stalk or scrubby, or you're a long range shooter, so you want the big open tops, or you like your hiking, so going out into the middle of nowhere, yeah. mm,
cool.
So
That's cool.
we and we we
That's
do
really
we
cool.
do also have a lot of other opportunities. Like you can four wheel drive into a lot of places, or you can get a chopper. Get a chopper, go drop you off in the middle of nowhere, and come back in and pick you up. Yeah, a lot of people
Cool.
do that. Yeah,
How about the brown trout fishing near you?
yeah, yep, yep. Most of our reservoirs, we call them reservoirs or lakes around here, but they all have brown trout and rainbow trout in
What
them.
about the streams and the rivers?
Yep, yep. They have the fish in them too. Yeah, yeah,
Man,
yeah, yeah. No,
man.
we've got some really pristine fly fishing here in the South Island. Yeah, yeah. I don't fish very much. You'd have to. Those fellas get pretty into it.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, I've heard about the fly fishing in New Zealand. I just wondered how close it was to you. So that's what.
Oh yeah. No, it's you can go fly fishing here. A river. We've got the Taieri River, just probably 7 minutes from the door. You go fly fishing in. There's brown
Okay.
trout in there. Yeah, yeah,
But back to the hunting stuff. You said, you know, I mean, obviously you can get a four-wheel drive or you can take the chopper or something if you really want to do that. I don't think most of the people that listen to this would be
yeah.
all that interested in that.
Mm.
So, but you say there's a good bit of walking, like you're walking 8, 9 miles a day, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. It's entirely up to you. Like, what's the conversion rate to miles to kilometers? We're in
Oh, I
kilometers
don't
over here.
remember. I know
You weird,
it'd
you
probably be
weird
like
people over there.
17 kilometers or some shit. So
Hold on.
we use
Yeah,
our system.
yeah, because we did talk about this last time, mate. I should have still had
Yeah.
it there. Kilometers to miles. So 6 points. So avoided. So that's just 6.2. Yeah. So if I walk 10 kilometers, that's 6.2 miles.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 And so that um so yeah, be around 9 miles around there. 19 miles would be a good day's hunting if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to walk that far, but that's kind of the range where I like walking. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That ten,
And if
that
there is
that's
anybody, you can get away from them, you know?
yeah, yeah. Or go say good day to them and
Yeah, for
join
sure.
hunts. You know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've done that many a times, and you give them a wave, and you end up on the same ridge top and go over yarn, and before you know it, you're camping beside each other, and you both got the same interests, so you're helping each other out, and yeah, it's I've
That's
done it a
cool.
couple of times actually.
That's cool. You don't
Yeah,
I mean, guys will do that here. I've had that experience hunting in Montana and stuff like that, but, um, a lot of times, like, you see a guy and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" You know, not saying that to you, but, like,
yeah, yeah,
implied, like,
yeah.
and then everybody wants to get away from each other, you know? So it's, I don't know,
Yeah,
it's just it's different here with that kind of stuff, man. It's different.
yeah. Uh, some areas in the weekends can get quite busy, but where I go and some of the maps that I do, if you're wanting an adventure, you wouldn't see a soul there. Yeah, you go there and you don't even see any boot prints. You know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. It
That's
is.
really
We're
cool.
very yeah, and um, yeah, yeah. We don't have the seasons like the bow season or the muzzle loader. It's just yeah. I solely only hunt for 270, and yeah,
You
that
have a
gets
270.
yeah. That's me, and that's all I do. Yeah.
Well, who made it? Is it what make?
A Seiko A7.
Okay, so it's a Scandinavian gun.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, yeah,
And
cool.
yeah, I it's just your normal basic calibers. You throw out your 270 there or
Sure.
thereabouts, and your
I
seven
mean,
mils or
it doesn't matter. It really I think
yeah.
people get into pissing matches about all of the
Oh
different cartridges and shit like that, and it's
yeah,
like, do you
yeah,
shoot it behind the ribs or not? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
kill the thing, move on
yeah,
with your life, you know? So,
yeah. A lot of people are getting into that, especially the long range stuff. Like for me personally, when I trophy hunt, you know, I want to make sure that that animal's guarded down. I think it comes back to the military background. Is I want the least amount of variables in my shot as possible, and so that means the currents, the wind, the air currents, the wind. So I'm getting as close as I can, even though it's
yeah,
you know I'm using a rifle. I'm not lobbing shots 400 or 500 yards at an animal. I like closing that distance and getting as close as I can. Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I'm not gonna shit on what anybody chooses to do, but, like, to me, that's hunting, you know what I mean? It's
Mm,
like, y
mm.
sure, you have the most efficient tool, right? Like, you have a rifle,
Yeah.
but, like, get close, kill the thing, you know what I mean? Be a
Yeah.
hunter, you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah, yeah. I do. There are some people that are really good at the long range stuff here in New
oh, for
Zealand, and
sure, for sure.
I'm just not. I'm just not that good. And I'll put it
Yeah,
in. I'm not a long range hunter, so I'm not going to pretend to be, and I ain't going to risk wounding an animal
for
just
sure.
to try and boost my ego. If you know what I mean? Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
and I understand, like, in some situations, you know, and like I said, if, like, I have a rifle that I'm confident with at 600 yards, and if it's like I walked up a mountain for however many days and I'm hunting sheep or whatever, and there's a 600-yard shot and the wind's right, like, I'm probably gonna take the damn shot, you know what I mean? So,
yep.
I don't have any problem with it, but I'm like you, I would prefer to get close and
Hmm.
kill it that way for sure.
Yeah. Have you done a few sheep hunts?
No. Oh, I've been on one. I've been on one with a client, but,
Okay.
it's one of those things here, like, truthfully, at this point in my life, like, unless I there's an over the counter tag in Montana for these units called the Unlimiteds, um, and so you can just go back in there and hunt, but, um, it's like the quotas are so low. Like, some units, it's 2 sheep, you know, and you have to check in every 48 hours. And so once they reach the quota, there's a certain time limit after that that they close the season. And so you always have to be checking in on your sat phone to see, you know, where they're at with the unit. So anybody could go do that if you want to spend, I don't know, I think the tag's $1,600, $1,800. You can, or maybe 1,200, but you can just walk back in there and do it. Most sheep hunting in North America is the average dude just can't go sheep hunt. And even in state, like, you have to draw the tag. I mean, I guess if you draw the tag, you could just go do it. But for most people in America, um, it's a tough, man. It's like I have clients that can do it, and they're wealthy, and I'm happy that they can do it. I think it's a wonderful thing because a lot of that money goes back into conservation,
Mhm.
which is great in some cases. But, like, you know, you'll have governor's tags. Jesus, I forget which state it was. Arizona or New Mexico, maybe Colorado, I can't remember which one. The governor's tag went for like $1,000,000. I'm
Wow.
not kidding, $1,000,000. And so if you wanted to go up to Alaska to hunt Dall sheep, you can't hunt sheep, goats, or brown bears in Alaska without a guide. And so then you gotta hire a guide. And to go hunt Dall sheep in Alaska, which is one of the less expensive places to do it, you're still spending $30,000.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so if you want to go hunt a stone sheep in like one of the Western Canadian provinces, you're spending $100,000.
Wow. Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Wow.
man. So it's a tough gig for the average American. So, you know, obviously I train people for those hunts. I love those hunts. I'm going to Nepal in 2028 to go on a blue sheep hunt. I'm tagging along.
Yeah.
But for most of the folks that I train, it's elk, mule deer, um, things like that. So
Yeah. And so your pack mule is, because I will have a few people who ask me, what are you mainly training them for? Is it just your backpack hunting for 6 miles, 9 miles,
we have people
or
that do all kinds of stuff. Yeah, like I have people that do all of that. I have people, like I said, I'm prepping people for sheep hunts. Even and I have clients that just really love to upland hunt, but some of the upland hunting in the West is really tough. So like chuckers they live in gnarly ass places, and you're walking up and down the mountain all day, covering a ton of miles. And I train a lot of guys that travel to hunt. So like Easterners that go out west to hunt and they want to stay ready for it. Um, and so I have people that I've I have clients, Jesus, I have clients that have been with me since I started it in 2019, which is really awesome. But a lot of it, people have started to realize the value of this whole process is a year-round thing. And it's not just a year-round thing, it's a years-long thing. So like you keep developing, yourself and your aerobic system and your strength and everything and your ability to move on terrain years at a time, and you keep getting better at it. But then, you look at something like, I'm prepping people for Dall sheep hunts in the Northwest Territories. That's a long process if you want to do it as well as you can. Like if you, like some people don't have the time to plan that far ahead, but like, you know, the one guy that I'm working with, I've trained him for other stuff. I've trained him and his wife to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, trained him for other hunts and things like that. But we knew about this hunt 2 years ago. And so, no, maybe 3 years ago. And so the whole process, like if you want to be really ready for one of those big mountain hunts in like the Northwest Territories or something like that in Canada, like you need to give yourself 18 months.
right?
It's brutal. So it's really become a thing where like yes, people use this to train for hunting, but it's also like they use it to train for their longevity, to be able to hunt until like you talked about until you're an old man. Like my goal is to keep people on the mountain when they're 80. And
Yeah.
the whole thing for us is, similar to you, um, my main mission with Pack Mule is to preserve hunting as a cultural value. And the way that I look at that is, hunter numbers are dropping here. Um, they've come back up a little bit, but the trend is down over decades. And so my thinking is, like you, I'm a millennial. So if I can make millennials, it seems to be the last generation that truly valued it the way it's supposed to be valued in America. If I can make them keep them on the mountain, keep them hunting, and maintain their ability to hunt into older age, we can help maintain it as a cultural value and continue to get those things passed down because hunting's been such a big part of my life and it's done
Mhm.
so many things for me that my way to do that is use my expertise. Like I know I'm one of the best in the world at what I do. And I can also write and I'm also a good photographer. So I use
Mhm.
my skills in the way that I can to preserve hunting. And so that's the main goal. So we're training for longevity. Yeah, we train for specific hunts, but it's like if you ingrain this into your life as much as you have hunting ingrained into your life, these things are just going to feed each other. And not only will your life get better, but you'll be able to do the things that you love for far, far longer.
Mhm. So, do you replicate hunts? Like, would you get, put a pack on and go get them out
You
there
could.
walking for
It
2 or 3
it
days,
depends.
or
Yeah, it depends on where you live. I definitely want people as we get closer to the preseason and stuff to do overnight trips. And
yeah,
and the folks that live in the West, it's much easier for them because then they'll just turn it into a scouting trip, right? So they'll go
mhm,
out and find critters and stuff like that. Um, if not, we do a lot of incline work, right? So like I live in Pennsylvania. We have the Appalachians. Um, they're they're not that big, right? They're essentially really big hills with trees on them, but they're still technically mountains. But so you can get some vertical, and we have gnarly terrain. It's just not as big as everything that's out west. And so, for folks like us in the East and for folks in our Midwest where there's no terrain, it's just fucking pancake flat. We have no choice but to get on the incline treadmill and the stair climber and things like that. And so I can look at based on duration about how much elevation they'll gain in a session. And in the programs that I individualize, I'll say, yeah, I'll look at like, well, if we do this incline for this duration, you'll gain about this much elevation. And then looking at that over the total course of a week and a month and stuff, I'll know, would they be ready to go cover 3,000 feet of elevation gain in a day, which is something that you'll do when you go to the Northwest Territories to hunt sheep or something like that. So it's definitely something we look at. But the biggest thing is just like you have to get time on an incline and work up to doing it with your pack on for sure.
Mm.
So
And so, do you increase the pack weight and whatnot over time, or
to
do,
a degree, I mean, what we know from the research is, and from like military and mountaineering research, is once you start to get above 30% body weight, you start to see diminishing returns because you just become inefficient. Joints break down too much, but mostly it's inefficiency because your gait changes so much, your breathing mechanics change so much, your posture changes so much. And so we do most of our pack training with about 20% of body weight,
yeah,
because that's where efficiency starts. So if you look at like 20 to 25% of your body weight, that's where you're gonna do most of it. It's also way easier to stay in like aerobic training zones and things like that with that amount of weight. Um, but that said, we will go heavier at times. If the person has done the amount of work that they need to, but we'll do it for shorter duration. So like I'll have people do incline rucking sessions for 2-3 hours at times,
yeah,
right?
right,
But
yeah, yeah,
but with the heavier stuff, we'll just go shorter. And mostly the way that I look at that is you're just acclimating to a heavier pack. Another thing that we use is called high intensity continuous training. And so we do it with like box step ups, and we just do it with a 12-inch box because if you look at the average step uphill, it's somewhere between 10 and 14 inches. So all of these super high box step ups on like 18 and 20-inch boxes, like
hmm,
they're not doing for you what you think they might be. So you don't need that tall of a box. And so we'll do that with heavier loads. So we'll go, I mean, I'll do that. I don't have everybody do this, but like I'll do that with 50% of my body weight. But that's what I need to get what I want from that workout. So there's different ways that you can do it. But like, so for example, we're doing it right now. For us, this is kind of our transition from the early off season into the later off season, and then we'll transition into preseason. Um, we're doing it one step each leg every 15 seconds. But there's a couple things that have to happen to make that work. When you step up, you have to step up hard. Like your intent has to be forceful. And then we want to make sure that we have enough weight that we recruit the right muscle fibers, but also we don't want our heart rate to go through the roof because you'll lose the adaptations that you need. So you know, let's say somebody's the top of somebody's aerobic threshold is like 145. So during that session, we only want to see them get into like the low 150s. If they start creeping into the 160s and 170s, it's just way too high of a heart rate and it's not doing us for us what we need. So we look at that from like a building muscular endurance standpoint in one aspect, but also it gives us a chance to acclimate to our packs that are heavier in a much safer environment.
yeah, right. That
Yeah.
because when I looked into yours, when I was wanting some stretches for in the tent, for when that
Yeah.
was what I was, in a wee pup tent, stretching the body because that's definitely one thing that I've found like getting a bit older is being able to do it day after day after day,
Hmm.
and so maintaining that. I can do it. I can go do a day hunt, smash out some big miles, but it's being able to do that the next day and the next day. And I think looking after the body has definitely helped me a lot. Like I, I catch myself now because for me, I don't do any other training because I'm out on the hill every week and with a pack on. Is so when I got to the age now where if I look at a hill, um, I think, and if there's a nice ridge on the other side, do I not want to go up there because I'm being lazy, or is it because I think that there isn't going to be an animal on the other side? So I caught myself thinking like that, and I thought, well, I'm just climbing to the top for the sake of it because I don't want to be lazy, and I
Yeah.
don't. I just want that top 2 inches of going. Well, yeah, push myself that little bit extra further each time. It's got to hurt a little bit, and yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
I
mean, that's
definitely,
great for your mental skills, especially when you feel
yeah,
that block and, like, not cowering away from that,
yeah,
going towards it is a good thing. I mean, when you look at that ability to go day after day after day, there's gonna be a few things that are gonna really help people do that. One of them is having a really good aerobic base because first of all, it's going to keep your heart rate from getting too high when you go, and so it's going to
hmm,
keep the cost of everything you do much lower. And then so that way you can recover and go day after day after day. The mobility stuff and being able to move well is another big piece of that. But also strength endurance and muscular endurance because if really the biggest thing that we want to do, and if you think about it fundamentally, like the first principle is you want to reduce the cost of everything that you're doing. And so being stronger while maintaining your body weight or losing a little bit of body weight makes you more efficient, and it makes everything that you do cost less because each step that you take is happening at a less percentage of what you're capable of. And so
yeah,
strength is important. Like you don't have to be a bodybuilder or a power lifter, but being strong is important. And then being able to translate that strength into muscular endurance so your muscles keep contracting as you go.
yeah.
And then the aerobic system carries it all forward and then helps you recover.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I was talking to someone the other day about weight. They were asking certain weight for things. They were going to. Well, what the subject was they were wanting to go for a lighter weight tarp. A fly. Um, and I said, they said, oh, what one do you use? And what lightweight? And I said, oh, I'm not worried about 200 grams, mate.
yeah,
When
sure. Yeah.
like I'd rather go for durability than trying to save 200 grams on a bloody tart, mate. And so I said, look, just you're better off just getting fitter and getting a better durable bloody tent. When I'm well over 100 kilos, so 200 grams, mate, that to me, I could, it's a big piss. Yeah,
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
like,
It doesn't add up as much. I mean, and
yeah.
having yourself to the point where you're confident that like you can do that, like is a big thing. But the ultralight hunting stuff has become a big thing here too. Where like people are
Is it?
trying to get their packs as light as possible and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
carrying super I mean, my main hunting rifle is light. It's only like
Oh,
6 pounds with the scope on it, something like that. But then I have like my longer range rifle is closer to 10 pounds, and
is that
so
right?
yeah, everybody's trying to play that game here of like cutting the weight back and all that kind of stuff. So it's I mean, to a degree I understand, right? But I
Hmm.
also think that you just if
Yeah.
you're strong enough and and you have the right endurance, like you can don't be stupid, right? Like don't take stuff you don't
Mm.
need to take and wear yourself out, but like, you know, you don't have to worry about it quite as much. So
Yeah, right. Yeah, like there's a couple of things that I don't negotiate on for weight is optics and
sure.
pack. Yeah, like I good quality optics. I don't care. I'm carrying a spotting scope. I'm carrying a big scope. I'm carrying big binoculars and a camera. They're non-negotiables and a good pack. People go lightweight pack, and I've learned from the army. If you break your pack or you bust it open, you rip a shoulder strap. That's you buggered out there on the hill. You
Absolutely.
you how are you then going to go carry on to the next one? Yeah, you can do some makeshift repair work, but then you're all going to be skew with if you break, for example, if you do break a strap. So, yeah, one thing I don't compromise on is pack durability, but um, yeah, a lot of it does depend on what type of hunt I want to do. Often,
Sure.
um, I'll sit down and go, right, what is the purpose of this hunt? If I do want to go a long way back, or I just wanted a good experience and enjoy some time with a mate or something, mate, I take a deck chair and steak, and fry
Yeah.
pan and garlic butter and all sorts, sauce in and have
Yeah.
a good old time. But yeah, yeah,
It does,
I've
yeah,
carried,
I and I
yeah.
go ahead, I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
You'd laugh at some of the places I've carried a deck chair, mate.
I'm sure I would. I'm sure I would. I think
Yeah,
it's I think there's the priorities of what you spend your money on is important, right?
yeah,
Because it's like you know I think Steven Ranella made the joke one time or something about like guys will drive around with $70,000 trucks and then $30 binoculars. You know what I mean? It's like you kind of
yeah,
have your priorities a little fucked up, right? So it's
yeah.
spending money on optics and spending money. I think and a good pack like my pack system. Um, it was like $1,000, but
Yeah.
like
Well,
it fits. It's got a carbon fiber frame. Like I can carry a shit ton of weight with it if I have to.
mhm,
And so
mhm,
I think if you spend money on a good pack and like spend money on your optics, and then of course I'm biased when I say this, but think of your body as gear and spend the money that you need
mhm.
to spend to get your body ready. Like, I don't know, you guys probably don't have Walmart there, but like, you're not whatever cheap store you have, right? Like
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
cheap
yeah, yeah,
department store you have, like
yeah,
you're not gonna walk into there and buy your hunting gear. Why would
yeah,
you do that for your body? You know what I mean? It's just
yeah.
same deal. So,
Yeah, well, the reason why I did there was a reason for taking a, deck chair actually, because I wanted to
oh
see
shit.
um, if it would take the weight off my back at night when I'm sitting there
Oh,
relaxing it. Yeah, I was wanting to see, when you sit in a chair with a backrest, if it would open up your spine. If I've been walking with a compressed spine all day under a pack,
sure.
I wanted to open that back up. So there was a bit of method behind, but it
Did
was
it
a full
help?
on. Yeah, it did actually. Yeah, yeah,
There
and
you go.
forgot. Yeah, the amount of times I'd pull the deck chair off my pack and sit down in glass, it was just fantastic. And
Well, I
you
mean,
know,
if you think about it, man, it's gonna offer you relief because if you don't have that, like, you gotta find a rock, you gotta find a log, or you're squatting or sitting on your ass on the ground, and that's fine. You gotta be prepared to do that, but if you can give yourself a little bit of relief, I don't think that's such a bad thing either. You know?
yeah. So that was my thinking with that. All that, yeah, it is great and comfy, and when your mate's sitting on the bloody mossy, wet ground, you pull out a deck chair. But I was trying to improve my sleep by having my pit, and my back open up, and by doing those stretches.
It's
Um,
smart, man.
yeah, yeah, because yeah, yeah,
You can
so
tell
much
that
of that.
you can tell that you think about it. You think about what you're doing, and you set yourself up for success with whatever the hunt is that you're trying to do. And I think that that's important.
Yeah, I definitely do. Yeah, I've been doing it for long enough now that every bit of gear that I do throw in my pack, I've analysed to death. Of like, why should I be taking this, and what should I take else? And I like taking gear that I can at least use it for two different things. And if I can't, well, then, often it will get left behind. And yeah, nowadays I have my gear that zeroed in. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
even from a fallow deer hunt to a tar hunt, there's only a couple of different garments that I'd extra throw in, and so my pack stays pretty similar throughout the different species that I hunt. Yeah, yeah, I
that's
don't
good.
mix it up too much. I use the same rifle, same killer, same grain load, everything. I don't reload or anything. It's all just off the shelf ammo. So yeah,
Yeah,
which
that's. I
which
mean,
probably
that's. No, go
sorry.
ahead. What were you
Which
say?
probably does bring to another point, like if an American, if overseas does want to come over here, we still do have gun shops. You can buy your ammo here and all the rest of it. They're
How
pretty
is
well
it?
stocked.
How hard is it for us to buy ammo there?
If you have one of those licenses, mate, you're in. Yeah,
Okay, cool. Because
yeah,
there's
yeah.
here. So if you're not a resident of California, if you would go to California and want to buy ammo, you have a 10-day waiting period before you can get it.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, right.
So yeah,
A
it's pretty.
cooling period. Yeah,
It doesn't make any sense. It's kind of asinine because like, I lived in California for a year, right? So everybody just drives up over the mountains to Nevada and just buys their shit and then drives back up over the mountains. So
oh,
it's a silly thing. Yeah. But
yeah, right.
anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah,
No, no. Here, there isn't that. You can go and buy a rifle if you wanted, and then probably sell it back to them at the end of your trip. You know.
there
Yeah.
you go. There you go.
Yeah.
There's a strategy for you. There's
Yeah,
a
if you
strategy
really
for you.
wanted to, you go. Yeah, especially one of the gun city. There's a couple of there's two main hunting stores, Hunting and Fishing New Zealand and Gun City, and yeah, they both buy secondhand rifles, so
Oh, that's
you could
awesome.
get yeah, you could buy a rifle and side it around, and there you go. But yeah, mm,
I'm kind of part like I have that the 30-06 that I was telling you about, and
oh yeah,
it's it's done a lot of cool shit. You know what I mean? So it's like it's all the stocks all scuffed up because I had it
oh, yeah,
like strapped to a boat in Alaska, and it has all this kind of cool character. So it's like when I come, that puppy's coming with me because
yeah, good,
it needs to do some stuff down there because it's earned it. It's been a very good
yeah,
rifle to me. So
yeah, cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I can completely understand that. I remember once I took a hunter out, and he'd bought I think it was a 243 or a triple two or something, a smaller caliber rifle, and we saw a deer quite a wee way off. It was his first time out. He wanted to shoot his first deer, and I found a couple of deer, and they're a wee bit further out, and I had my rifle with me, and he's like, "Oh, um, should we shoot it?" I said, "Well, we might have to get a wee bit further in with your rifle." He says, "Oh, well, can I just use your rifle and shoot it?" I said, "No, mate, that's your rifle. We're going to use your rifle. I don't care."
Absolutely.
And you do get a bit of that sentimental value when it's your own rifle and you want to,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. And then
yeah,
it turns into an heirloom, right? Like your kids have
yeah,
it and then all that kind of stuff. Like that's a cool thing, man. It's a really cool thing.
yeah, yeah. Do you have many rifles over there? Like is it, or you just stick to
Me
one? And
personally,
well, yeah, in general, most people over there, or
we have rifles. We have a lot of guns. So like for hunting rifles, I have that 30-06. I have a 257 Roberts. I have another 30-06 that's a pump action, and I have a 6.5 PRC, and that's the one for longer range shooting. So
yeah, right.
I have 4 just hunting rifles right there. So yeah,
Yeah, right. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But
Just I did when I was reading up on it. You can't bring in semi-autos over here or anything with
oh
bigger
yeah.
than 10 shot mags or anything like that. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of places here that you can't even hunt with those anyway. So you have to
Oh,
have like a bolt action or um you can have a pump action rifle, stuff like that. So a lot of places here you can't hunt with a semi-automatic rifle. You can for varmints. So like
yeah.
for like coyotes and shit like that, you can, but like for most places here, big game hunting, you can't use a semi-auto anyway. So
No, yeah, right.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I also just had another point there that made me remember. You don't have to hunt public land here in New Zealand. Like we do have guides as well, so you can hunt your high fence, which is guaranteed. Good animals. It's in with your flash lodges and whatnot. Then we have free range, which the deer aren't fenced in, but it's private land, and so you can still go hunt on them, or you can get a guide to come with you on your public land hunts as well, or you can just hunt
Yeah.
public land on your own. So
That's a lot how it works in Texas, right? Like there's high fence operations down there, but then there's also free range critters. But the problem with Texas is there's only 3% public land in the entire state. Everything's private. So
oh wow,
you're not going down there to hunt without knowing somebody or without hiring a guide.
is that right?
Hmm. Yeah, there's like hardly any public land there at all. So
What about in
yeah.
Pennsylvania where you are? What
We have
is
quite
it?
a bit. It's mostly state ground. And then if you go up north, there's the Allegheny National Forest, and that's federal. But when you get out west, there's state ground, there's BLM, Bureau of Land Management, which is public land. There's national forest. There's all of that kind of stuff, and so there's far more public land west of the Mississippi than there is east of the Mississippi.
Right.
So that's why Easterners like. And the thing is, like, there's such a strong hunting culture here in Pennsylvania that like there's so many guys that here that travel out west to hunt all the time you know?
Mhm.
So it's a pretty big deal here. But like in deer season here, on the public land, like, geez, there'll be the whole mountain hollow just be lined up with guys in their tree stand. So it happens that kind of situation. I don't hunt like that. I can actually like I'm looking at the ridge that I like to hunt, but it's gnarly to get back in there and you have to walk your ass off and it's steep and it's like straight up. And so that's where I go in deer season. I go hunt that. And
Yeah,
I still hunt it. I don't get in a tree stand or anything. I don't like to hunt that way. So I will
yeah,
in archery season, but in rifle season I hunt from the ground.
that's how I'd like to do it, and pack out into the back country, and yeah,
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 it's
do it
good.
that way.
It's good. It's fun. I mean, you can do that kind of stuff with whitetails here. You have to pick a good spot, you know? So,
Mhm, mhm.
yeah. But
Yeah,
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 it's a little different because there's a lot of people. There's just a lot of hunters in Pennsylvania. So,
yeah. Well,
I
hey, look, now you know there's an opportunity to come out to New Zealand, mate, and, you
and
know,
absolutely, I will be doing that, and I hope others follow me. So, your app,
yeah.
it's just in the App Store? If you just go in the App
Yeah,
Store, you
yeah,
can
yeah,
download you
on
have to go to your
iPhone and
website.
Android. No, no,
Okay, cool.
do have the website as well, huntmate.co.nz, or you can look up Huntmate on Android or iPhone, and it's there.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and if anyone does, they can look me up on social media on Facebook. I'm more on Facebook than Instagram. And if they have any questions, I'm more than happy to point them in the right direction. But yeah, like I
Sure.
said, like when you're looking at the map, and you're wanting to, get those main species, your tar, chamois, red deer, fallow, something like that. It's in the South Island, so, and the main city in the South Island that you fly into is Christchurch, and then you can do another flight down to Dunedin, or you just get a rental car, and away you go. Yeah,
How
and
far are you from Christchurch where you live?
it's about a 4 hour drive. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
gotcha.
But probably 40-minute flight, if that. Yeah, and the flights
Oh,
are
so you
pretty.
could hop a flight from Christchurch up to your where you live.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Oh,
Yep.
okay, cool,
Yeah, no,
cool.
no, no, there's a few different airports in the South Island. You've got Queenstown as well that you can fly into, and that's right in the centre of the South Island. So your South Island there, and on the east coast you've got your Christchurch and Dunedin, about 4 hours apart driving, and then in the middle of
Okay,
the South Island you've got Queenstown that you can still fly into there, which is really in the heart of a lot of good hunting country there.
cool.
Yeah, and that Queenstown and Wanaka, the Central Lakes, is like our tourist area for the South Island.
Gotcha.
It's yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, if you are looking at coming over, definitely reach out to any Kiwi. We're more than happy to help on our Facebook groups, or flick me a message, or when you do, just look for flights into Christchurch and start from there. And then you go on the Department of Conservation website, have a look, and the maps on there are very easy. Like they tell you the access points. They give you a very broad indication of animal density, low, medium, or high. But you can still pick an area, and you pick your species, and then you can pick an area, and it will give you suggestions where to go. Mm,
Yeah, and one of
yeah,
the important things that people need to know too, um, as Americans, because like when you go to Africa or something, you can't bring any of the meat home. And knowing that you can go to New Zealand and you can bring the meat home is an important thing to note too. So, yeah.
yeah. I haven't actually looked into that.
You
Yeah,
can, yeah. So it's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's on our end. It's on our customs. So when you
yeah.
go to Africa, anything you kill there, it stays there. Now it feeds a bunch of people. Don't get me wrong. Like
Mhm.
because of Americans and other people from other countries going to Africa to hunt, like you were talking about the value on the animals. Well, that's what keeps the animals there. But also like, you shoot a kudu, like, yeah, sure, you're gonna eat some of it in camp, but the rest of it goes to feed other people. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you can justify it that way. But I think for a lot of Americans, because we're so focused on like, well, I want that meat,
Mhm,
knowing that not only would you go to New Zealand and get a cool head, but you'd also get to
mhm.
bring the meat home if you want to.
Yeah,
So
I do actually remember watching Remy Warren when he came over here on one of his ones, and he wrapped it up and froze it all and shipped it back. Yeah, I do remember that actually.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so you can get the, my Aussie mate there, he's had animals taxidermied here and just shipped them back that way, if you wanted something done that way. Yeah.
that's likely. Yeah, that's what I would do is I would just have it done there and shipped rather than trying to bring it all
Mm,
back and
mm,
do it that way.
mm,
So
mm.
yeah,
Yeah. Other things to consider though, like stuff here is pretty expensive, like to
mm,
buy in our fuel and whatnot. It is like um that's kind of expensive, but not, it's not going to blow your budget if you've already got the flights here, you know.
yeah,
And yeah, it's but other than that, you can also bring in a lot of your own freeze dried food if you need it, or that sort of stuff.
cool.
Yeah,
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 for sure.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Tristan, I've taken up an hour and a half of your time, man. So I appreciate it, dude. It's great information, and I'm hoping that we can start to get some Americans
Yep.
coming your way and doing some hunting, man.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it's. I'm not one of these people that try and hide, what we've got. I think the more people we have, the better. And I think, and if a lot of New Zealand hunters would think more that way as well, we'd have it better managed. To be honest, mate, and like we still get a lot of um overseas hunters coming over, but if it just gets a little bit more popular, um, it's a benefit for everyone. I see.
Yeah,
We've got the animals, we've got the space. Um, it's an industry over here that could always help. Use the guides that are here, the game parks and all the rest of it. There's whatever type of hunt you want to go do, it's here. And
yeah.
so, it's yeah, it's everyone.
Another thing to make sure people know is like if you're a duck hunter, it's like you can shoot 50
Right.
ducks a day. So that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
something to keep in mind
Yeah,
too. So
or Canadian geese. Yeah, they,
oh
they,
yeah,
they've
yeah,
lifted they've lifted all protections on Canadian geese. You can even use a centre fire rifle on them now.
it's
Yeah,
wild. It's
yeah,
wild,
yeah.
man.
So
That
if you
is
see them
wild.
up a valley when you're up tar hunting, you can shoot them too if you want. And
Well,
there's
that's
no
good.
bag.
That's good camp meat, man. That's good camp meat right there.
Oh
You
yeah,
know.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's awesome.
You, you,
Well,
you you
I'm
probably you
gonna.
probably have a better recipe to cook than what we do,
Oh,
mate.
dude, goose. Well, it would be tough to do out there. You wouldn't necessarily want to do that, but goose pastrami is delicious.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we do with a lot of the geese that we shoot here in Pennsylvania. Is we cure them and then smoke them and make pastrami, and
Oh,
it's
right.
really really good. But
Yeah.
I mean, you could honestly like you can sear you can sear goose breast like a steak, and it's still really good, really really good. So I do it
Right.
all the time. Yeah,
Yeah. Right.
but a suit. I don't know if you ever heard of this. Like one of the way that I do it is I sous vide them, right? So I'll put them in the sous vide for like however long to get them up to 129 and then sear them off. And that's the best way I found to cook them. So just
Right.
like throw them in the bag with like some butter and whatever spices and seasonings you want to do. Pull them out, sear them in your cast iron, and then they're good. They're really good. Yeah. It's a
Cool.
good way to do it, man. So
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway, I'm gonna let you go, man. I'm gonna put your link to your website in the show notes and everything, and then
Yep.
your social and everything like that too, so people know where to find you and everything. So
That'll be great, man. And like I said,
yeah,
I'll keep putting the pack mule on the app because on the blog, so people can see it on there. And yeah, if they need to.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much. Well, I really appreciate it, Tristan. I really hope we start a pipeline of
Yeah,
guys
man.
coming down there to do some public land hunting, man.
That'd be fantastic.
All right. Thanks again, brother.
Take care, mate.